Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and happy Thursday, everyone. It's the last Thursday of April. This month has gone by so quick. Hopefully, you guys have been having a good day, had a good the first 4 months of the year already. In tonight's episode is another debate hour episode. This one is just of the Survivor Series variety. This one is it's gonna be kind of tricky. The shows that are in the docket for tonight is it like I said, Survivor Series, but it's Survivor Series 2002 versus 2014. Both are pretty good shows in their own right. One more so than the other, but let's just see what comes of it, and let's just make the decision as we go along, shall we? So we're going to start with Survivor Series 2002 from Madison Square Garden in good old New York City. This show as a whole is the birthplace of the very first Elimination Chamber, featuring the top six of the Raw superstars at that time: Triple H, who is the World Heavyweight Champion at that time; HBK, Booker T, Kane, RVD, and Chris Jericho. It's also historic for that, but it's also the debut of Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, who was in a bidding war between Raw and SmackDown at that time, and he chose Raw. Well, that didn't really go well for him because of what happens to Scott Steiner with the two Triple H matches for the World Heavyweight Championship in 03. So yeah, it was kind of not a good start for Scott Steiner here. But it's technically not a Survivor Series pay-per-view because it has two, maybe technically three elimination matches, but it's not Survivor Series like elimination matches. So the three that are in particular is the opening match, which was the six-man elimination tables match between the Dudleys, which is Spike and Bubba Ray Dudley and Jeff Hardy, versus 3 Minute Warning and Rico, which was Jamal and Rosie. And that match was actually kind of chaotic and it was a lot of fun. The second elimination match, if you want to call it that, it's not very Survivor Series, but it's Los Guerreros versus Chavo and Eddie versus Kurt Angle and Benoit versus Edge and Mysterio, who were the SmackDown Tag Team Champs. And this was like SmackDown 6 era match, which was like one of the best matches I think of that night, if not for the main event. And then you had the Elimination Chamber as well, which was Elimination Chamber match as well, birthplace of it. But then you also have a very fun cruiserweight title match between Bill Kidman and Jamie Noble, who was the champion at the time. Then you have the only women's title match on the card, women's title hardcore match, which was actually kind of shocking to see at that time because it was 02 and not really given really much time. It was like maybe like 7 to 7.5 minutes, which is pretty good. Which was between Trish Stratus and Victoria. And then you had Big Show versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE title match. This is where Paul Heyman turns on Brock Lesnar and helps Show with hair. And he wins, with the Paul Heyman swerve and all that stuff. And 5 out of the 6 matches that I talked about were title matches, and they were all title changes. So the Elimination Chamber, the SmackDown Tag Titles, the Women's Title, the Cruiserweight Title, and the WWE Title, they all changed hands on this night, which is very crazy. I guess it's one of those things where it was like they're putting all their stock into certain people and all that stuff at that time. Because like Los Guerreros won the SmackDown Tag Titles. Kidman won the Cruiserweight title, which was like he's a multi-time Cruiserweight champion in WCW in his own right. HBK won the World Heavyweight Championship because this is the crux of the Triple H and HBK feud that started in the summer that year. And then you had Big Show winning the WWE title from Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and then you had Victoria winning the women's championship in her debut. And that was kind of shocking to kind of see, or like in I guess in 02 standards, Because like knowing where a lot of people have been gone, like come from and all that stuff, it was like next month in December, like Triple H wins back the World Heavyweight Championship. Victoria retains in like I guess a three-way or something for the women's title. The WWE Championship for Big Show didn't even last a whole month because he lost it to Kurt Angle. And then I think like Los Guerreros is like it's all like on SmackDown and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, it was like one of those things where it was like, okay, we need to get the title off the person, but then we gotta give it back to the person and all stuff like. And it was like kind of like that was the Triple H reign of terror in '02, because I think it was like the day after SummerSlam or the week after. Eric Bischoff rewards Triple H with the World Heavyweight Championship. And then like he defends it, and then he holds on to it till Survivor Series that year, loses it, regains it back at Armageddon, has the two shitty matches with Steiner, and then has the all-time like shittiest match with Booker, but you should have put Booker in that top spot, but that's just me. And then he holds it on till like I think like the end of '03, and then he kind of like doesn't get it back until like the end of '03, and then he goes into '04 with it, and then like loses it at the triple threat with HBK and Benoit. And then it's like the whole crux of the Triple H and HBK storyline was like that world title and all that stuff. If you guys want to hear our thoughts on that rivalry, go check out our rivalry episode on that topic. Um, the tables match and the or the triple threat tag for the SmackDown tag titles was actually kind of a lot of fun. Very car crash tables match and all that stuff. The chamber match was actually kind of cool because it's like the 10 tons of steel and all that stuff. The women's match was actually kind of shocking, like I said, because like you just never seen women do hardcore stuff in wrestling, which is kind of eye opening to me. And then the Big Show and Brock Lesnar title match was kind of like one of those things where it's just like you just never know with Brock Lesnar, because this was like the crux, like this was like the piggyback off of like Brock versus Rock at SummerSlam that year. And he was like bulldozing everybody through SmackDown. And the Paul Heyman shock turn and all stuff. It's kind of like okay, kind of gave, I guess, kind of give like Brock that like rub and all stuff. And it's like I mean everybody loses to Big Show every once in a while. But yeah, it was like one of those shows that was just like okay. Then let's go into Survivor Series 2014. Now, the main event of this whole show was Team Cena versus Team Authority. Team Cena was Cena, Ziggler, Eric Rowan, Big Show, and Ryback. Cool, solid. Team Authority was Rollins, Kane, Harper, Mark Henry, and Rusev, which I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Then we had a Fatal 4-Way Tag Title match between Usos, Los Matadores, I think like primetime, no, not primetime players. I can't remember the other team, and then Miz and Mizdow, which I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And it was only one title change, and it was that tag title match. That was it. 4v4 women's Survivor Series match, which saw Paige's team get swept, obviously. Wyatt versus Ambrose ending in a DQ, which is boo. And then the two meaningless matches, which was like Adam Rose and the Bunny versus Slater Gator, and then Nikki Bella winning over AJ Lee in 33 seconds to win the Divas title. But besides all of that bullshit, the main event was actually the match of the night, actually, because you had Ziggler making performance, Big Show, talk about Big Show turning heel for like the umpteenth time in his freaking career, the destruction of the Wyatt family, because like Harper and Rowan are on opposite sides here, just Mark Henry's just there, and the debut of Sting in WWE, which leads to Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania, which is that just puts a little that just breaks my heart, you know. But if I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking like, you know, some people are probably thinking this too. If you had Ambrose and Wyatt, it ends in a DQ, right? Which, you know, boo, 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 boo. And I'm sorry, like, why have Big Show and Mark Henry? They're just there. And Mark Henry's just doing nothing. He's not doing any of the Hall of Pain stuff anymore. He's just there. They're just like, okay, well, we just need another big guy to counter Big Show, which is fine. That's fine. But why not give that opportunity to Wyatt and Ambrose? Because I mean, you could just say like, you know, Big Show and Mark Henry, they saw each other backstage. They brawled and all that stuff. And they put each other through, you know, table or whatever, and they are unable to compete in the main event. Then you go find Dean Ambrose, who's on Team Cena, which makes sense. Then you go find Bray Wyatt. You have Harper talk to Wyatt into going into Team Authority. So then you kind of keep the Cena Rollins storyline, which was going on for a little bit. You kind of keep the Rowan Harper feud, which could kind of get started with that. Um, uh, then you have Dean Ambrose and Wyatt. Then you have Ryback and Rusev. And then you also have Ziggler here. But you can also give Ziggler kind of to Harper here. And it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just like Big Show and Mark Henry being there is just kind of just null and void. It was just like they're just there just to get a paycheck and, you know, just go on their merry way. And also Show turning heel for the umpteenth time, and also which he's going heel and face and heel and all that stuff, and like so many in his whole entire career in WWE, WWF. Um, Sorry about that. I mean, you could have just, it would have just been way better. You would have had Cena, Ziggler, Rowan, Dean Ambrose, and Ryback versus Roman, Roman, Rollins, Kane, Harper, Wyatt, and Rusev. That would have been crazy. Cause like Ziggler and Harper would go on to feud more into TLC that year over the Intercontinental Championship, which was a really good ladder match. Cena would face Rollins in the tables match that year, and then Rowan and Kane could just have, you know, the stairs match, whatever, boo-hoo, whatever. And then you have Dean and Wyatt, and then you have Ryback and Rusev. Boom, all stories right there. That's perfect. But it's just like I said, Show and Henry were just there. Now, on to, I guess, my overall thoughts in both of these. I'm usually a huge sucker. I'm more so a huge sucker for the old stuff like 02, 03. Even though it was kind of like a dark time in 03. Because in 02 you had, you know, the SmackDown 6 stuff. You had the reign and terror between Triple H and the World Heavyweight Championship. The feud between Triple H and HBK were just getting started around that time, which lasted like 2 fucking years. But like there was no Survivor Series matches that were having high stakes. But with 2014, you had Team Cena versus Team Authority. That had some high stakes because if Team Cena lost, besides Cena, the rest of his compadres there will get fired. But then if Team Cena won, Team Authority would be out of power, and there would be no COO Triple H. There would be no Executive Vice President Stephanie McMahon, and like everything in Team Authority's cabinet will be just gone. And it had some like I said, it had some high stakes. It's like and plus both shows featured Big Show, but one kind of featured him more prominently than the other. And plus like both featured a heel turn. Big whoop. if I'm going off of vibes alone, I might just go with I might go with Survivor Series 2014, only because of the main event. The main event alone kind of helped make it go over the top a little bit for me. But I did remember like Ziggler having like huge run against like all three of the last remaining people. Um, the destruction of the Wyatt family, which was like a huge thing because like you never thought Eric Rowan would turn face against Luke Harper, which is kind of rare to see. And then like the debut of Sting in WWE after he was gone from WCW in '01. He waited 13 years to come into WWE because he did not know what to think about WWE at that time. Because at that time, when people, like during the invasion, if you were labeled as a WCW guy or an ECW guy, the WWF guys will give you guys a hard time. And I guess he just didn't want to do that, so he went to TNA, and he was there from I guess like '02, like '03, '04 until he left in like what 2013, 2014. Um, and it was kind of cool to see Sting in the WWE ring too. I mean, yeah, the main match kind of sucked because it was like boo Triple H and yay Sting. But then you had like the match with Rollins between Sting and Rollins, which actually kind of had a permanent ban on the Buckle Bomb for a little bit. And then now he was doing good things in AEW until he had retired, which is like kind of cool to see. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with Survivor Series 2014 because of the nostalgia and all that stuff. I still have a soft spot in my heart for Survivor Series '02, only because of like the main event of the Chamber match, the SmackDown 6 era Triple Threat Tag Team Title match, and then the Elimination Tables match. All the other matches on that show was like it was good. It was actually kind of good. But it's just like one of those things where it's just like it's a time capsule. They were putting new people out there for like people to cheer for. But they just didn't give them the time of day to like literally flesh out their character. And actually have a good run with the damn championships that they had. But yeah, my final answer is Survivor Series 2014. And that is it for this debate hour. It is the last debate hour of the month. But with that being said, hopefully you guys made it to the very end of this episode. We do really appreciate it. If you have made it if you had made it to the very end, if I can speak today, please make sure to follow us on all social medias and the link tree in the description below, which will take you to our Instagram page, Twitter page, our podcast Reddit page, my gaming YouTube channel, and we're going to be doing some more stuff within next few months. There's going to be some more Throwback Thursdays and Shoot the Shits, all that stuff, but we're going to try to expand a little bit and do some other stuff within the Reckless Paradise universe here. Hopefully we can do that. Hopefully. But before I go, the song of the night is "House on Sand" is by Nothing More, and it also features Eric from I Prevail, which is kind of cool to see. And yeah, that's it. I will see you guys next Thursday for another Breakfast Paradise episode. Stay safe, everyone. Peace.